lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not.
The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason.
It could be that his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight.
But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was just about 2 sizes too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, just hating the Whos.
He stared down from his cave with a sour grin of frown at the warm-lighted windows there below the town.
They're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming.
He knew the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early, then they'd rush for their toys.
And then,
Oh, the noise, noise, noise.
That's one thing he hated.
The noise.
Noise!
noise.
Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to feast.
And they'd feast, and they'd feast.
They would feast on Who pudding and Who roast beast.
Which was something the Grinch couldn't stand, not in the least.
And then they'd do something he liked least of all.
Every Who down in Whoville, both the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand.
And the Whos would start singing.
They'd sing.
And they'd sing.
The more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing,
The more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing.
then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderfully awful idea.
I know just what to do.
the Grinch laughed in his throat.
As he donned his Santa Claus hat and his Santa Claus coat.
Then the Grinch chuckled.
What a great Grinching trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked all around, but since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found.
Did that stop the old Grinch?
Oh, no.
The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. Maxie!
So he called his dog Max.
Then he took some red thread and tied a big horn on top of his head.
Then he loaded some bags and some empty old sacks.
On a ramshackle sled and hitched up old Max.
then the Grinch said,
Giddy up!
And the sleigh started down towards the homes where all the Whos were snooze in their town.
All the Whos were dreaming sweet dreams, each without a care.
When he came to the first little house right there on the square.
This is stop number 1.
the old Grinchy Claus hissed.
And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in fist.
Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch.
But if Santa could do it,
Then so could the Grinch.
he got stuck only once, for a moment or two.
Then he stuck his head as the fireplace blew.
Now, these stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
And he snatched them all down, as only a Grinch can you know.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant.
Around the whole room, he took every present.
Space guns,
And guitars,
footballs,
and drums,
Checkerboards
frisbees.
popcorn.
and plums.
He stuffed them in bags.
Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed each bag up, right up the chimney.
Then he slunk to the icebox.
He took the Who's feast.
He took the Who pudding.
He took the roast beast.
He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash.
Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash.
Then he stuffed up all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
Grinned the Grinch.
I'll stuff up the tree.
Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire.
On their walls, he left nothing but hooks and some wire.
And the only speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was too small even for a mouse,
Then he did the same thing to other Who's houses.
leaving crumbs much too small for their Who's mouses.
It was 1/4 past dawn.
With all the Who's still abed,
All the Who's still a snooze.
when he packed up his sled,
With their ribbons,
their tags,
Their wrappings.
their trimmings,
their tinsel,
Their trappings.
3,000 feet up.
up the side of Mount Crumpet.
He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it.
Foo-foo to the Who's.
He was grinchishly humming.
They're finding out now that new Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. And I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a moment or two. And then all the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused and put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound.
It started out lightly,
It started out low.
The more he listened, it started to grow.
but this sound wasn't sad.
Why, this sound sounded merry.
It couldn't be so.
But it was merry.
Very merry!
He stared down at Whoville.
The Grinch popped his eyes.
He started to shake. What a shocking surprise!
Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing.
Without any presents at all.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or other, it came just the same.
And the Grinch, with his grinchy cold feet in the snow,
Stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
He puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore.
and then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought.
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And what happened then?
Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't quite feel so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light.
And he brought back the
He
toys.
brought back the trees.
He brought back the tinsel as pretty as you please.
He brought back all the food for the feast.
Then the Grinch himself, he carved the roast beast.
Well, I don't want to brag, but I do come from meat bird. Thank you.